Like every other Sunday, the family Willis would visit their beloved James, who passed away a few years earlier. James, the husband of Jane and father of Rick and Max, died due to a heart condition and has been a big miss. However, today they saw a wolf standing over James's grave, and it refused to move. Not sure what to do, they called the police, who decided to check the cameras to get to know where it came from. While doing so, they discovered something stunning, making Jane sink to her knees. Jane couldn't believe what she saw. She wasn't ready for this, and at first questioned everything she saw on that footage. But the police assured her that they were real images and that Jane had to face up to the facts. Jane was heartbroken. No matter how shocking the images of the security camera were, Jane and the officers had no choice but to check them. It was their only way of learning the truth, and it didn't take them long to see the disturbing truth behind this absurd scenery. The police hesitantly informed Jane about the fact that they had to dig up the grave. They told her it was even more dangerous to leave the grave as it was, so Jane had no choice but to agree. But why was there a wolf on the grave, refusing to leave? Why was Jane so terribly disturbed by the camera footage, and why did they have no choice but to dig up the grave? James's death was a tragic death because he seemed so healthy, and so it always raised questions among the next of kin. James was a man of many acquaintances. Jane barely knew these acquaintances, seeing many of them for the first time only at the funeral. Although she always remained curious, it only surfaced on this fateful day. As a family, they had a tradition. Every Sunday, right after they had been to church, they visited James's grave. The one time, they brought flowers. The other time, they quickly took a broom over the grave and left early on. Rick and Max, who sometimes went along somewhat against their will, noticed something this time. It was the Sunday before the tragic wolf incident. Rick walked ahead and arrived at the cemetery before his mother and younger brother. And as he approached his father's grave, he noticed traces of mud alongside some other remarkable things. Because he also clearly sees footprints in the mud tracks, Rick has a strange feeling about it and immediately informs his mother. She doesn't think much of it. She says it probably belongs to one of the cemetery employees, then asks Rick to put flowers on the grave. But this wasn't over. As the eldest son, James had always taught Rick to trust his intuition. That's why he stayed around the grave for a while Jane and Max were already walking back to the car. He scanned the area because he felt he was being watched. Looking back, Rick was right to feel this way. He decides to leave, since he can't find anything or anyone. A day later, the school week starts, and Rick completely forgets his premonition from that Sunday. He is way too busy with school and doesn't follow through on his plan to go back to the cemetery. Had he done so, he would have prevented a lot of misery. It is Sunday. Jane, Rick, and Max walk out of the church ready to go to the cemetery. Jane is extra excited today without any immediate reason. She suggests having lunch nearby before they go. How things could have turned out differently if she hadn't suggested this. The family enjoys their lunch before going to the grave. This time, they walk next to each other while the cemetery is already in sight. And then there is that terrible image. An emaciated wolf stands on James's grave. Jane and Max freeze completely while Rick slowly approaches. But the wolf notices Rick. He shows his teeth, and Rick understands that he has to keep his distance. Filled with fear, he slowly walks back to his mother and little brother to ask what they should do. By that time, Jane already calls 911 in a panic. Jane has to repeat her story several times because she is simply not believed. They ask if she's been drinking while she's desperately emphasizing that she understands it sounds bizarre, but it's actually true. Then she finally gets the help she asks for. A police car is immediately sent her way. The police arrive shortly after and are met at the gate by Jane. They are very skeptical and first ask her if she didn't just see a dog instead of a wolf. But Jane persists, and rightly so. Jane escorts the agents to the grave where Rick and Max keep an eye on the wolf from a safe distance. The wolf is still not gone and keeps sniffing the grave. Then, the agents finally see that Jane has not lied. Their response said it all. They're scared to death. They had underestimated it, and now that they saw the wild wolf, they didn't know what to do. They did the only thing they were authorized to do. They sealed off the cemetery and called animal specialists. Shortly afterwards, they went looking for the camera footage. This whole scene was really starting to take a turn now. Jane sees how the police are busy cordoning off everything. She stays close to make sure that she's informed as soon as they know more. One of the officers approaches her to ask if there is anything he can do for her. She replies that she would also like to see the footage. The agent has bad news for her. He tells her that she may eventually be allowed to see the footage, but that initially, only the police are allowed to view the images. Jane is frustrated and disagrees, but the agent keeps saying it has to do with privacy laws. Jane is stunned, meanwhile taking a look at the wolf. The wolf is still not off the grave. Jane couldn't believe it. What could be there? Why didn't the wolf respond to the humans? And why did it seem so determined? Jane realizes she must find out what's going on here, as her husband would have wanted. She then takes a risk. She follows the agents to the office at the cemetery. She thought that the officers would look at the camera images there. At least they would get closer to the truth, and Jane felt she deserved it too. She was onto something. Jane then sees the officers watching the footage on a large screen. They seem to watch the nighttime images first, while Jane secretly watches from outside. It is difficult for Jane to see exactly what is happening in the images, but then there is clearly something to see. It is a clear figure that leaves something on the grave. Presumably, a man who is dressed unrecognizably. He behaves mysteriously in the images, and it seems that he has been at the grave on several occasions. Unfortunately, that wasn't all. The last image clearly shows the man taking out a small shovel and starting to dig in the grave. Jane sees him plant something in it and loses her cool. She collapses on her legs as she sees someone take away her late husband's honor. She storms in, and the cops look up in surprise. They initially want to send her away, although they understand her emotion. Then the leading officer intervenes and has an idea to solve this. Jane waits in suspense. For the Willis family, Sundays meant more than just a day of rest. It was a time dedicated to paying homage to their beloved James. Their visit to his grave had become a solemn tradition. Memories of a husband and father lost too soon lingered amidst the rows of tombstones. Every Sunday, they'd gather at the cemetery, clinging to memories of a dearly missed man. James was the heartbeat of the family, his laughter and wisdom forming the fabric of their lives. His sudden departure had left an indelible void. Jane, Rick, and Max were intertwined by their love for him, sharing an unspoken bond that grew stronger amidst their collective loss. His legacy lived on in their hearts and the stories they shared. A chill wind swept through the cemetery, a peculiar sight leaving the family astounded. A lone wolf standing guard over James's grave. Its presence unsettled them, a creature of the wild in an unexpected place. Their unease grew as the wolf remained, an ominous figure against the backdrop of their cherished memories. Jane's heart raced, uncertainty gripping her as the wolf refused to leave. Disbelief mingled with fear as she grappled with the surreal scene. She felt a surge of emotions, grief, confusion, and an inexplicable sense of protectiveness for James's resting place. Unsure of what to do, she sought help, her mind swirling with questions. The authorities arrived, greeted by Jane's urgency, but their initial skepticism left her frustrated. Their reluctance to believe her account of a wolf at the grave only added to her distress. Despite her insistence, the officers took the situation with a hint of disbelief. Yet, the need to investigate prevailed, marking the start of official involvement. Days passed, and the memory of the wolf lingered. Rick's keen eye had spotted something unusual, a series of footprints near the grave. The discovery raised questions but received minimal attention, dismissed as mere traces from the cemetery's routine maintenance. However, it left a lingering unease, a small but significant anomaly. The peculiar footprints preyed on Rick's mind, an unspoken fear brewing within him. He sensed an unsettling significance behind those prints, but lacked evidence to solidify his suspicion. The tension grew as the family returned to their routine visits, a gnawing feeling of something amiss lurking in their subconscious. With each approaching Sunday, a heightened sense of curiosity and concern shadowed the Willis family. Rick's premonitions only intensified, his unease leading to apprehensions about their routine visit. Jane also felt a sense of foreboding, a feeling that there was more to the wolf's appearance than met the eye. The family's apprehensions turned into a chilling reality. A lone wolf stood guard over James's resting place, unyielding. It was a moment of utter shock and disbelief. Jane's pulse quickened and she made a frantic call to the authorities, the gravity of the situation growing more pressing. Jane's urgency clashed with the officer's initial skepticism. Despite her fervent account, the authorities found it challenging to comprehend the peculiarity of a wolf's vigil at the grave. They hesitated, unsure of how to approach the situation, leaving Jane in a state of urgency and mounting distress. The police delved into the cemetery's surveillance footage, meticulously examining the events leading up to the wolf's arrival. The hours spent scrutinizing the recordings marked the beginning of a deeper investigation into the peculiar circumstances surrounding James's grave. As the footage unraveled, intricate patterns emerged. The authorities discovered recurring visits by a mysterious figure to the grave. Each nocturnal visit seemed to bring a shroud of secrecy, leaving the investigators intrigued by the individual's unexplained presence. While the investigation intensified, memories of James enveloped Jane. In the quiet moments, she sought solace in reminiscences of their shared experiences, finding strength in the love they had cultivated. Memories became a sanctuary amid the chaos of the ongoing investigation. The family's resilience strengthened with each passing day. Meanwhile, the police, driven by the unravelling mystery, intensified their efforts, delving deeper into the enigmatic visits and the unspoken riddles surrounding the grave. A profiler joined the investigation, bringing a fresh perspective. With the profiler's expertise and the family's active participation, a collaborative effort emerged. They sought to understand the unknown visitor's behavioural patterns and motivations. A surprising revelation surfaced during the investigation, a name from James's past, Richard Barnes. The unexpected association raised eyebrows and spurred new lines of inquiry. Richard's sudden relevance sparked a wave of speculation within the family. The investigative path gradually pointed toward Richard Barnes. His history and past interactions with James surfaced as probable links to the mysterious visits. The unfolding evidence slowly painted a portrait of potential connection. The discoveries concerning Richard Barnes sparked emotional turmoil within the family. The possibility of his involvement cast a shadow of distress over their pursuit for truth and justice. Each revelation fueled a mix of anger, confusion, and sorrow. Jane grappled with the potential implications of Richard's involvement. The looming threat of their lives intersecting with James's past rival led to a shift in family dynamics. Uncertainty and tension tested the resilience of their bonds. As the investigation deepened, expert witnesses stepped forward, providing valuable insights. Witness testimonies edged them closer to uncovering the truth behind the mysterious visits to James's grave. Each testimony a pivotal piece in the intricate puzzle. The investigation took an unexpected turn, sending shockwaves through both investigators and the Willis family. A revelation, unforeseen and jarring, disrupted the established trajectory of the case. The sudden shift left everyone reeling, shrouded in disbelief and uncertainty, prompting a critical reassessment of all prior assumptions and directions of the inquiry. It was a startling moment that injected a renewed urgency and complexity into the search for truth. Despite the upheaval caused by the shocking twist, Jane's resolve surged stronger than ever. The tumultuous revelation only fueled her determination. Her steadfastness became a guiding light amid the growing complexities. With unwavering resolve, she emerged as an unyielding force, holding steadfast to her pursuit of truth and justice for her beloved James. As the investigation progressed, the Willis family found solace in revisiting cherished memories of James. Amidst the chaos and uncertainty, reminiscing became an emotional refuge, a way to seek closure and hold on to the essence of their dearly missed patriarch. Sharing anecdotes and reliving moments helped in preserving the warmth and spirit of their lost loved one. Unified by their shared love for James, the family stood resilient against the storm. Together, they forged coping mechanisms, supporting each other through the turmoil. Strengthened by their unity, they found a source of solace in each other, their combined strength becoming a reliable pillar in weathering the uncertainties. In the pursuit of resolving the mysterious events, the authorities employed advanced surveillance techniques. Cutting-edge technology and innovative methods were pivotal in intensifying the investigation. The intricate utilization of surveillance methods heightened the meticulousness and depth of the investigative process. A surprising and sudden shift in focus redirected the investigation's path. This unforeseen turn led to a re-evaluation of established assumptions, demanding a fresh look at the case. The unexpected change prompted a sense of heightened urgency as new leads and avenues emerged, altering the investigation's trajectory. Emotions ran high as the investigation progressed, inching ever closer to potential closure. The collective mix of anxiety, anticipation, and apprehension intensified, creating a charged atmosphere. Every revelation and discovery brought the case one step nearer to a significant breakthrough. As the investigation progressed, tension mounted. The gradual unfolding of events inched the investigators closer to uncovering the individual behind the mysterious visits. Each development heightened the anticipation and expectation of an imminent unmasking of the culprit. Amid mounting tension, faint hints and subtle insights began to emerge. These cues shed light on potential motives behind the grave visits. The nuanced clues provided a glimpse into the enigmatic intentions of the individual involved, offering valuable context to the unfolding mystery. A shift in focus brought forth disconcerting revelations that blurred established lines between known facts and the enigmatic aspects of the case. Startling discoveries deepened the ambiguity surrounding the investigation, complicating the already intricate web of truths and uncertainties. With each passing revelation, the case began to solidify against Richard Barnes. The mounting evidence painted a clearer picture, aligning the known facts with Richard's potential involvement. The intricate web of clues began to form a compelling narrative against the backdrop of his connection to the mysterious visits. As the case intensified, the family's resilience shone through. Their collective strength became a powerful beacon amidst the turmoil. An emotional resurgence rippled through the family, invigorating their determination to see the investigation through to its end. In an unexpected turn, a new lead emerged, offering a fresh perspective. This unforeseen development ignited a spark of hope and urgency. The unanticipated lead redirected the investigation toward uncharted territories, introducing a newfound vigor to the inquiry. With each passing day, the signs and clues gradually coalesced, guiding the investigation closer to the truth. The subtle hints and compelling evidence pieced together an intricate puzzle, inching the authorities nearer to a conclusive revelation. Amid heightened anticipation, a shocking arrest stunned the investigators and the Willis family. The revelation accompanying the arrest sent ripples of disbelief and surprise, marking a critical turning point in the investigation. The arrest and accompanying revelation initiated a wave of emotional healing. Closure, albeit tinged with lingering emotions, began to weave its way into the fabric of their lives. The process of resolution had begun, offering a glimmer of solace after the storm. In the aftermath of the upheaval, the family revisited cherished memories of James. The reminiscing became a balm, allowing them to cherish moments shared, fostering a sense of warmth and nostalgia amidst the lingering emotions. As closure dawned, the family found moments of peace and solace. The understanding that justice was on its way offered a sense of comfort, paving the way for healing and acceptance. With the case nearing its resolution, the family embraced closure. The ordeal brought an understanding that it was time to move forward, letting go of the tumult and embracing a new chapter in their lives. As the storm settled, the family looked back, reflecting on James's legacy. His memory remained a cherished presence in their lives, leaving an indelible mark on their hearts. They found strength in the love and the enduring legacy of a beloved husband and father.